Hey, welcome back to Bridal Sewing Techniques, and today I'm going to let you take a back room tour of my sewing studio. Are you someone who has experience with a mix of sewing but is looking to get into the bridal niche? This channel is for you. Oh my goodness, look at that hem scrap pile. This is all the hems that I've done in the past week. That's right, this is a surprise backroom tour. I sprung it on myself. I promise you I didn't pick up a thing. All of this footage is from the end of a sewing week, and my sewing room is destroyed. This is as real as it gets. I don't know if you're like me. I think you might be because you're here. I'm not into this pretty, perfect stuff that you see on so many of these sewing tutorials. I want to see the real deal. I don't want to see everything perfectly cleaned up. Everything doesn't have to be pink. You know, I want reality here, folks. So I'm not here to try to make you feel bad about yourself when you look at your sewing room and you're like, oh, it's a big mess. The back room of my sewing shop gets very, very messy. So I'm just going to show you reality. So here's my cutting table. And as I cut, I just throw the hem scraps in there because you never know what you're going to need that week. And then at the end of the week, I go through the scraps. Any of them that are large enough to be used for gussets down the side of the dress or something like that, or a really different color or different fabric, I might keep for my scraps. The rest of them are just going to go in the trash, and I'm working on getting a fabric recycle bin, which is so exciting. Okay, so anyways, what this video is about, like I said, it's by request. A BST Bestie asked me, what all supplies should a seamster get when they are starting out? So I'm going to go through my shop, literally just walk through and show you and tell you what all I have here. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's do a little shop tour, and I'm gonna let you look through all my junky drawers and see what I keep on hand and why. Okay, so obviously you guys have seen this area a lot, and you've seen all the junk that I keep piled up along beside my machine. I usually have, you know, my left and right zipper foot, invisible zipper foot is they're the most common feet that I use on my machine. I always have a lighter or two handy. Here's a little gauge, not always there. I do always have my magnets that are glued to my machines and my tables. I always have my hypo cement, good little scissors, good little, usually 9-inch dressmaker shears, nippers, my screwdriver, that kind of thing. Then as I work, I kind of just toss the lace to the side and hang tags and all that. And then at the end of the week, that's when I go through and really clean this stuff up. This is in another video. I do always keep a little box of muslin stoppers here. Obviously, we are going to be cutting more of those this week. I keep a small variety of thread colors right by my machine. And then like you saw, I have my thread rack on the wall a little bit further away. I do want to move that. I do have some different horsehair braids right beside me that, again, they get kind of put away. I'll show you in a minute where I put them. They get kind of put away at the end of the week, that kind of thing. But I use my most commonly used ones. I'll leave it out here on the table. There's my invisible thread. Here is my beloved thimble. It's real silver. Love this thimble. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Hello. So yeah, I think I spoke about this in another video, but there's different ways to wear thimbles. There's right ways, there's wrong ways, and then there's personal preference ways. I often wear my thimble on my third finger, and you should wear it impossibly tight. That way you should be able to do this and your thimble not come off. Okay, see how much smaller that is than the tip of my finger? That's really how that should fit. All right, so I just put that away because I don't use that on the daily. And it is silver, so it'll tarnish. This is super important right here. You can see how worn out it is. I always have a nail file right by where I work because if you get a nail snag, you can ruin stuff. So over here, these are muslin little crescent shaped things. They actually are for custom bust pads if I need to add some additional padding. So I have those so I can add that. I do keep my bust pads nearby too, and look at that. I've tossed horsehair braid down in there. That's not where that belongs. Life, people, I'm telling you, this is real life. Okay, so fur hooks back there. I'm low on fur hooks. The fur hooks are the super big hooks. They're the super big hooks for, I use those for bustles sometimes on the underlayers, and then like hooks and slides for making little belts inside of the dress. I have no idea who put lace scraps in there. Obviously these are bobbins that are wound with colors I do not often use in bridal. That's why they're kind of put away. Here's just some leftover safety pins. Here's more hooks and loops. Guys, I love huge, strong hooks, okay? I know you guys have asked about them before. The ones that I use are these. Number 3, white hooks, okay? In the industry, this is what white is. They're the nickel ones. So don't yell at anybody if you order white hooks and they don't come in white. They come in nickel, and we paint them with chalk paint. Here's my grommets for my corseting supplies, and some clear buttons for backing bustle loops and whatnot. These are just miscellaneous beads that we toss in there. I have a couple places we do that. Here's our die sets for the corset back grommet press. All right, let's see what else we have. Razors. Oh my, so important. These are not my favorite razor blades. The reason why I have these is for travel because they come in this little pack. And this is actually for a utility knife. That is not for my sewing, cutting things open. These are the ones that I use. I've shown you that in other videos. The Warner brand. Warner brand. The brand matters. These really do last longer for me. They're 9 gauge. I get these from the painting section of Lowe's. Measuring tapes. Oh, if you guys don't know, this is how sequins come when you order them. They come on a strand. Like that. And then if you order really small quantities, they come like this. Aren't those some pretty sequins? I'm so into the clear sequins. Here's some extra nippers. I actually have another place for them over on the other side of the shop. And here I've got some tools. Always have these by the serger, always. So I always have nippers, and then I always have long tweezers, and then I always have this thing to pull the thread through. Fun fact, a friend of mine that worked in a sewing factory for years, she said they would pluck the strands out of a corn broom and push the thread through with that. You know how they kind of get like split ends? They would use the split ends from the corn broom. Then I have spare needles like for this machine. So yeah, here's my serger. Here's my blind stitch machine that I do not use very often. I hate this machine. I hate you, machine. Do you hear me? I hope your feelings are hurt. I hate you. Okay. I think you know how I feel about this machine now. Hey guys, I have a Conso for sale. A blind hammer machine. You'll love her. Actually, she's just very stubborn. So anyways, I would use her if I had to, but I prefer to hand stitch my blind stitch rather than trying to get the depth adjusted all the time on this. It's annoying. I need to sell it. Down there is my cover stitch machine. I do not use that very often. A cover stitch is the one that has, okay, look at my sleeve. This is a cover stitch. It's got the 2 on top, and then on the underside it looks like it's kind of serged. It's for knits. It's a stretch stitch. And so sometimes you'll see that on one of the underlayers of a knit wedding gown. So yeah, obviously this is a workroom. I need some trim, guys. Anybody want to come put some trim up in here? I'm supposed to be working on that. I'm trying to get it prettied up. It's just not, it's not necessary back here. My main studio where I see my brides is beautiful, but not here. All right, so I am at my cutting table now, and I keep like office supply, return phone calls, all that junk over there, junk mail that needs to be dealt with. And then I keep this right here, current scraps. Those are as I'm cutting off of a dress and I know it's a scrap I need to keep, it's gonna go in that tote, and that can be lace or it can be hem pieces or whatever, but it's something that I need to keep for a current project. So all of these are generally in here. This is kind of my my go-to tool bucket. This hanger does not belong there. This is my go-to tool bucket. This is the stuff that I'm going to be grabbing for a lot. It's like my pin cushions, bustle hooks that have been painted, my super fine thread. So generally when I'm tidying up my shop, I'm doing this, getting all of it in here. And then I would be putting away like my scrap lace. I keep that all in one place. So all of this can be tidied very quickly, and I feel like it's kind of contained, you know. But I don't get like overly tidy while I'm working, because that would take a lot of extra time. So here's if I'm working, you know, from the cutting table from this side. I desperately need a new one of these. You can see it's all stained and gross. If you guys know where to get this big one in this clearish white, tell me in the comments below, because I really want another one of these. This one is just worn out. It's just gross. But I can't find it this huge. This is the one that is, it's almost 60 inches long when you take into account the extras on the sides. So yeah, it's like probably a total of like 35 by 60 or something crazy like that. But I can only find them on like green, in like green or black. I'm having a hard time finding the replacement in white. This we talked about. This is how I hang my dresses while I'm bustling them. I do the hang loops this way and then hang the dress out. And I just have pins and stuff. I never let my pins roll around and lay out in the open, because obviously ink. So here's some things that I sometimes use with my ironing. So I'll have the Stitch Witchery. Obviously black felt, I've talked about that before. It is very much needed around here to put behind things while you're hand sewing, or you need to increase your contrast to prevent eye fatigue. And then this bucket, I mostly keep a bunch of scissors thrown in there. Shears, sorry purists, you're gonna get me. I said scissors instead of shears. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that. Just, you know, beat me with a wet noodle. So anyways, here is another pegboard. I do like to keep these on hand just in case a girl has an extremely sheer top and she doesn't actually want bust pads. Here's my cards that I keep for the distance between the grommets for my corset backs. Do the right thing, not the easy thing. Nice little motivational stuff, sticky roller stuff. I love this. This is the sticker that's like measuring tape that I can put on my machines. Cuff roller. Hammer. Yes, we do need a hammer sometimes. There's some more of the sticky tape. Alright, so down here, bust pads. And I have them kind of sorted by size. And this is more of like a just a shield. It doesn't have any push up or anything to it. There's my silk organza that I have folded up. Tagging gun and labels. There's some ribbon. Here's where the horsehair braid is supposed to abide. So I've got obviously spools of it, but then I also have it like this. Lighters. This has obviously just been a catch-all for beads. Hand sewing needles. We need quite a variety of those, although I usually only bounce between 2 different hand sewing needles. But I like to keep a full variety on here. All right, boning. And then I do have some jewelry and watch repair. Sometimes you do have some little metal work kind of thing that goes wrong on a dress or on a headpiece, and you're like, okay, I'll fix it. Here's packing supplies for when we ship out. Adhesives. Various pliers and such. Very much needed. A jar full of my little scissors. Very much needed. This is another thing of randoms. Ha! Everybody needs one of these. Miscellaneous fabric covered buttons. So somebody brings in a dress. It's supposed to have 20 buttons. 6 of them are missing. You're replacing all of the buttons. So you take all those leftover buttons that were on the dress and you toss them in here. You don't throw them away. You toss them in here because, you know, in a month or two, you're going to have another bride that needs you to just fill in a couple buttons and they're going to match perfectly. Here's hook and loop tape. There's that. Here's all of my backup hypo cement that you know I love. Here's some fusible webbing that's in smaller quantities and different sizes and whatnot. Band-aids, you know we need band-aids. Needle threaders, more clear buttons. Here's all of our button looping. It comes in so many different colors and styles. You can get it with the elastic like this, stretchy, or this is not stretchy here. And then of course it comes in white and ivory and different spans between the loops. And I think I've shown you guys this before. Fabric covered buttons. I have my 16s here and my 18s here. Here's extra nippers. Veil combs and alligator clips for making veils. And then snaps. Lots of little snaps. Elastic and cording. Obviously, this needs to be in there, people. Man, we gotta clean. Oh, this a dear friend of mine gave to me. She had this printed from a book. She said every time she read that children's book, she thought of me sewing in my little downtown loft. So that was so sweet of her to do that. Okay, zippers. And this is my grandmother's collection of colored buttons. She used to always pop them off the clothes before she'd get rid of them. Hot glue gun, that's the high temperature one. Extra veil clips. This is all my bling stuff, so if I need to make a sash or whatever, that's where I keep my appliques. That is not labeled. It's been turned around, so God only knows what's in that. I think it is like that hem lace, though. I think there's a lot of that in there. Alright. Miscellaneous scraps for making sashes, straps, etc. A pre-made inner corset. So this is like foundational stuff that I have. And then narrow cording and ribbons. Then way up there, I have my lint roller refills. This shelf goes really high. Our ceilings are like, I think they're 12-foot ceilings. Okay, so here I have this amazing huge iron hook. Isn't that beautiful? I can use the loop that's under the train to hook on that to help hold up the train of the dress while I do the grommet press. Scrap hems. power mesh and piece goods, Chantilly lace, ivory corded lace, dry cleaning records, and then up here is a lot of those other scrap hems. Things that I don't use very often are up high. Knit lace and tricot. This is my spare serger. In case my serger goes down, you need to have what we call equipment redundancy. You have to have extra equipment. So that's my spare serger, and then also my electric scissor sharpener. Video to follow. I will show you how to sharpen and maintain your own dressmaker shears. So here's more scrap hems, lace scraps. That is like so precious and needed. And then cotton laces, white lace, which obviously we don't need much. There's more scrap lace. Obviously, here is my ironing table. Guys, I'm going to link to my video about ironing. YouTube, for some reason, kind of buried that video. I think they were probably thinking maybe it was a commercial for the iron. I do show you in detail about how to operate this iron. I do love this iron. But there's also, it just goes into detail about how you set up everything that you need to have around your iron, where to get those things. And then it also goes over, I think that video even goes over a couple of little known tricky little techniques that can help out. So that's an important video. I'm going to link to it down below. I know a lot of you have not seen it. It doesn't have a lot of views at all. So let's get that thing unburied. All right. And then over here, let's see, I've got like my paint supplies. This is like chargers and electrical stuff. Scrap tool, ivory tool, birdcage netting, nice scrap tool and lace. There's some muslin right above that. Manuals for my Janome stuff, more hem scraps, valuable scraps. These are the scraps that actually have like bling attached. And then here's all this. Various colored tools, muslin, whatever. And then there's my little, look at that rigged up rack right there. Hey, it works. It works. All right. Oh, I keep my cleaning stuff like this. Like, let me back up. I keep it like that so that if anybody does poke their head around the corner, which they should not, nosy people, but if they do, if they see cleaning supplies, and they'll think, oh, you're gonna get that on my dress. Like, this should be behind there, and the cleaning person just put it in the wrong place. But that way that you don't have to worry about getting anything on the dresses, or people thinking that you would get something on the dresses. Here's some of my acid-free gown bags. I have to keep this in monster size and then also regular size. And then here's where I have that video. Most of you probably have seen it. It's got better numbers on it, but it's about how to make a veil, and it shows how we write the lengths on the floor, because the veils can get so long. So now you can see how that's oriented in my shop. Veil start, fingertip 40, waltz 58. These lengths may vary depending on, you know, what works in your shop. This is what works in my local area. These lengths for my shop. The main thing is you want to be consistent, and you probably want to have a diagram for your brides so they know what length everything is and what to expect and all that good stuff. Here's inside my tote of the piece goods. These are, it's like yardage, or some of them aren't even a full yard, but, you know, it's not scraps. It's fabric that I've bought that I can cut off of, that kind of thing. And this is how I like to do my beadwork, is I have a plate that I put the beads on, and I use the felt so I can see them, and they don't roll quite as badly on the felt as they would a regular plate. It gives me some visual contrast. My ribbons are usually like a 1/4 of an inch satin ribbon, like for bustling, or some Petershams. And I have these in like various bridal colors, of course. Various sewing machine needles back here. Baby wipes, guys. You need to have baby wipes. You gotta have them for your hands and have them for keeping your workspace clean. Always have a T-square thingy hanging on your wall so people will think you're as smart as an architect. And here is some of the products that I have around my ironing station. Super useful. This is like floor debris. We have the prettiest trash around. It's always good to have a little travel sewing kit. This is actually a tackle box that they sold in purple. Way cheaper than an organizer box sold in the sewing section. Home sewing supplies are outrageously priced, so this was cheap and handy. So yeah, here's my junky little busy shop. I hope this has helped, just being able to take a little tour. Of course, if ever you want to do a retreat with me, you can come and stay for a week or 2 weeks and get to learn all the backroom secrets, where I order everything from. Just little hints about how you run your business, where I was talking with somebody last night about work smarter, not harder. I like to share all those little hints with people. So you'll get to see, things like that. I forgot to show you this. Here's my sewing machine oil. I'm going to show you guys too someday about my machine maintenance and what I do for my machine maintenance. I don't do very much dry cleaning of my machine at all. Most of the time when I clean my machine, I clean it with oil, and I really squirt her down and soak her down with oil. I love to do that right before vacation and just let her take an oil bath while I'm gone. And then when I come back home, just kind of wipe everything down and run some fabric through, sew a few times till the oil gets out of her, all the loose oil. Yeah, that's the way I like to do that. So I hope this has helped you guys. Don't forget to put the comments down below what things you have that I don't, and what things do I have that you didn't think of having. And that'll be good fun. So welcome to the back room of my shop, BST besties. Please hit like, share, and subscribe. And if you're new here, my channel trailer is coming on up. So just stay here with us and you'll learn a little about this channel. I know what you're looking for. You've been sewing for years, but you want to get into full-time bridal sewing. But there's something missing. You're missing the backroom secrets, the industry tips and tricks. The tools, the sources, the techniques that give you the speed and the accuracy that the industry demands. You have found it.